Welcome to this video session. In this video, I will be discussing about the image enhancement. This is unit 2. What we'll be looking into image enhancement. First, let us define the principal objective of image enhancement. This is to process any image so that we can present it in a suitable manner of the original image. For example, if we take a photograph, maybe because of the poor lighting condition, you wouldn't have got a good picture. So you would want to perform some modification for that by changing the contrast. So that comes under this topic called image enhancement. Enhancement can be done in two methods. One is the spatial domain, that is, you directly operate on the image. Other one is called the frequency domain, where you take the frequency transform of the image and you perform the filter operation, and then again you convert it back to the spatial domain. Now, which is better? It is the viewer who has to ultimately judge. In this session, we will be discussing first about the spatial domain method of image enhancement. This is computationally efficient and it requires less processing because you are not going to convert it into transform and then back. So that is why it is less processing sources required. Then you can perform point operations, point processing operations such as intensity transformation, where in intensity transformation you can perform contrast manipulation and image thresholding. What are these? We will come to it. And we will also be performing spatial filtering. In intensity transforming, we will be performing on a point processing. We will be processing a point. In the spatial filtering, we will be looking into the neighborhood of that point and perform the filtering operation. This can be done for image sharpening or smoothing. Now, f of xy is the actual image. So you do some processing on that called t, then you get the processed image g of xy. So this is the general notation, mathematical notation. Now, if I have an image whose spatial coordinates are x and y, and the origin is a 0,0 coordinate, and if you consider a pixel shown here as at the coordinate xy, which is having a 3 by 3 neighborhood, they are called as 3 by 3 neighborhood of the point xy. So when we perform an operation using this kind of a mask, this is called as a mask. So we try to evaluate the neighbors of this particular pixel. We perform some operations such as filtering and then move on to the next filter, next point, and so on. So this, we call it as a spatial filtering. This is the block we are using, the 3 by 3 block. So if you take the mask for that, this is as shown here. And this mask is also called as a kernel or a template or a window. So you can be basically doing processing or the filtering using this. If you write the equation, mathematical equation for each of those elements present in this, for the elements, corresponding elements in the mask, you will get this equation. So this is mathematical representation. Now, point operations can also be done, as I said. So we will be looking into that. So that is called as intensity transformation. So at any point of the pixel value represents the intensity. So therefore, we call that as intensity transformation. When we operate on the pixel value, we operate on its intensity. So therefore, this is also called as intensity transformation. What are the transformation that you can do? You can perform the gray level transformation. You can perform mapping transformation. What are the applications that use this intensity transformation? You can use it for image enhancement. You can use it for segmentation. You can use it for contrast stretching. You can use it for thresholding function. Now, an enhancement operation with a point operation, we represent it with this mathematical notation where R is the input and T is the point operation performed on the R, such that I get the output S. This is the notation. Now, this operator T operates only for one pixel. So if you observe the graph here that is shown, so the first graph shows that K is the intensity value here, and it is mapped. So this is the intensity region. This is the dark, this is a 0, and the lighter. Dark will be 0 and lighter will be, brighter will be 1. Or if you take it from 0 to 1, so this will be 0 and the brightest will be 1, and you can put the in between values here. Similarly, this is the axis for output, this is the axis for input, the mapping. So if you take a point K, so the pixels below the value of K are stretched here, and the pixels above the value of K below this intensity value are stretched here. So in other words, we say that the pixels below K are made darker and pixels above K are made brighter. So they are stretched here. So this performs the contrast stretching. So since we are stretching in the contrast, this functioning is called as a contrast stretching function. Now, if you observe the second graph, at value K, there is a distinction. Anything below that is dark, anything above that is light. So you have only two levels. So this we call it as a thresholding function, where you will get a binary image. So from the discussions on threshold, this will result in a binary image. So this is the intensity transformation. We will look into it more thoroughly here. If you look at the intensity, the gray level transformation, what are the different operations you can have from this equation? There can be a straight linear input output relationship where you will get an identity line like this, or there can be an inverse, that is a negative line like this, or they can be a logarithmic, or the nth root, or the nth power, and inverse log. So these are the different operations you can perform in this using this equation. So therefore, the intensity or point transformations, what you can do can be grouped into either linear operation, which is a negative, or identity. Negative is to find the negative of that image, and identity is to just to duplicate the image by another image, the same copy. Multiple copies you can do by doing identity of that image. Next, we can perform logarithmic operation and inverse logarithmic operation, and power, that is nth power and power root of that. So you can observe here from this, for example, if you consider the intensity level from 0 to L by 4, which is a short range in the input, is stretched, or this small less intensity is grouped into large intensity at the output. So you can see that this takes on, if you observe the log and the nth root, you observe that they have higher values. So here they range in the input axis, they range from 0 to L by 4. In the output axis, it can range from 0 to 3L by 4. So this small set of values or intensity values are mapped into large variations here. So this is what we can see from here, that, and the converse is true for the nth power and inverse logarithmic operation. So there is stretching and compression that is happening. So, or spreading and compressing of this intensity value is what we can observe from this graph. So therefore, they can be different operation. So the first operation in the intensity transformation is obtaining the negative. So how we find negative of an image? So input R is the pixel value and it is subtracted by the highest intensity value, that is L minus 1. L represents the largest intensity value. So output S is the subtraction of this, the result of this subtraction. So for example, if this is the original image, you can see the second image here. So this is a negative of this image. So you can obtain the photographic negatives in this fashion. Next, the logarithmic transformation is given by this equation where C is a constant. R is the input value, pixel value, S is the output pixel value, C is a constant. And R should be greater than or equal to 0. Now, in this case, we see that there is a stretching. As I said, the compression or stretching can happen in the log and the power. So here we can see that the input and output, the output is stretched to the intensity level so that it becomes brighter. Next is the power law where S is equal to C into R power gamma, where gamma is a positive constant and C is also a constant, a positive constant. Now this is what we can observe from the graph of the input versus output for the different values of gamma. So this line is a straight line indicating that it is a linear region and gamma is equal to 1. And as we decrease from gamma less than 1, we can see that the compression or the stretching happens this side. Similarly, as gamma increases, there is variations this side. So gamma, we will see what happens if gamma takes lesser values or if gamma goes on decreasing and if gamma goes on increasing. Let us consider the two scenarios. One more point I need to mention here is about something called the gamma correction. So many of the image capturing device or a printing device or a display device, that is a monitor, they all suffer from this effect. So this kind of effect where your low intensity is mapped to a high intensity. So this we call it as the gamma effect. And all these devices require a correction process. So this correction process is called as a gamma correction process. So everything, devices like image capturing device, printing device, all that will go through this gamma correction process. Okay, so here is the gamma correction process for a monitor. So this is the monitor. This is the screen to be displayed, but you don't get that on the mirror. I mean, you don't get that on the monitor. So the input and output appears different. So therefore, you do the gamma correction here, and then you get the same, almost same as the input at the monitor. So this is an gamma corrected output. Now let us see the effect of increasing the value of gamma. Now this is an image of a magnetic resonance of the fractured human spine. In the first image, it is not so clear, but in the last image, we can see as we go on decreasing the value of gamma, we see much better results. And C value is taken as 1. Next, we'll see what happens when gamma is increased. So this is the aerial image, and when we increase the gamma value, we can see that we get a better result of this image. Next, another linear transformation is called the piecewise linear transformation. This is also point-wise, I mean point operations grouped into different category called piecewise linear operations. So they are linear piecewise, if not completely linear, but if in a small piecewise, if you consider, they are linear. So first is the contrast stretching. Why we do contrast stretching is, as I said, if you take the image and you don't have a proper lighting, you want to brighten that. So this, you will be using this technique called contrast stretching. So for poor illumination, you can use this contrast stretching. And if the image lacks dynamic range, the image sensor rather, if it lacks the dynamic range, in that case also, uh, whatever is changed in the scene will not be captured by the imaging device. So then also it will result in some error. So that can be corrected by using contrast stretching. And even if you're using the wrong aperture lens, that also can cause problems. So we can use contrast stretching to overcome that. Another uh, piecewise linear transformation is called the intensity level slicing, and we'll also be using bit plane slicing. What is contrast stretching? So this is an example shown here. So this is the graph of the relationship still holds good what we had written in the first one, that is S is equal to T of R. Now in this case we consider uh, these 2 points R1 S1. So this is the point R1 corresponding, and this is the point S1, and this is R2 here and S2 here. So if R1 is equal to R2 and if R1 is equal to S1 and R2 is equal to S2, that means they both have the same slope on the corresponding axis, then this line would become a linear line. And if R1 and R2 are equal to some value called M, so they lie on this plane because S will be equal to 0. So it will lie on this. So this point, both these points will lie on this. And then S2 value will be equal to L minus 1. So you'll have a straight line from here. If you say M is somewhere here, so from here to here, straight line you will have. So that will become a thresholding. As we have just seen, that thresholding will have only two values, anything below or anything above, nothing transitioning. So that, so you can have from this, you can either modify for a linear operation or you can perform the thresholding operation, and any other value, any other combination, you can have the contrast stretching. So this is the concept of the contrast stretching. Now here is an image. The image uh, A is a low contrast image, and we are performing the contrast stretching here, and this is the image obtained by contrast stretching using in this region, and this is obtained by using thresholding. So we can see the image is more presentable. So another example of contrast stretching. So this is the original image and this is the processed image. The next piecewise linear transformation is the intensity or gray level slicing. So what we do in this is that if you observe here, all the intensities or uh, all the input values which are having the intensities between A and B point are grouped into one value of pixels, one intensity value, and all the intensities below A and above B are grouped into another. So in this case, it is not, this is somewhat like the binary, but it is not exactly 0 and the brightest point. It is somewhere in between. But here also there are two values only. So only two intensities are present. So the input between these two are mapped into the output for this value here, and the input in this range input in this range are mapped to output of this value here. whatever is corresponding here. So therefore, this is the one way of transforming. Now, if you want below that, so this is for a positive. If you want for a negative, then you can put it down here. So you can have the darker value and the brighter value lower. So you can do, so only one region of intensity are changed. So where we find application, suppose that we want to highlight only one part of it or certain points, in that case we can use only certain points in an image. If you want to highlight it like a highlighter, you use it for marking. So you can use this intensity level slicing. Now in this, the second graph, all the values below A and above B are having a linear one-to-one mapping. That is, input is correctly mapped to the output, but the values in this range between A and B are having a fixed output value. Any intensity in this range will have a fixed output value. So this is another way of slicing. Now you can also do the reverse. So you can bring down, instead of increasing intensity, we can bring it down to the zero intensity also by bringing it down. So this is gray level slicing. So these are the results obtained by doing these two types of slicing, intensity slicing. Again, we are operating on the intensity of the image. So why? As I said, we can brighten or darken a specific region by doing this operation. This is an example of gray level slicing here on this image. The next piecewise linear transformation is the bit plane slicing. So bit plane slicing is the bits are, we are identifying the different bits. For example, if the pixel is having 8-bit, then we identify the 0 to 7 bits, and each bit will become a plane. That is called the bit plane slicing. So why we use this? So that we can analyze what is the information content in each of the bits, and which bits having less information, we can neglect them, or we can compress them by eliminating them. So we can study the relative importance of each of the bits by using bit plane slicing. Now this is an example of an 8-bit fractal image. As I said, fractal image is a image that a computer generates based on a mathematical equation. Now if you observe what are the intensity values for the bit 7, this will be the intensity information present in bit 7, bit 6, and so on. So IGS coding uses this bit plane slicing so that you can eliminate the lower bits, so that you are representing only the 4 bits. So therefore, your information is compressed and you can use it for faster transmission. So this is an advantage. So far we have seen the image enhancement in the spatial domain. In this, we had seen some of the basic gray level transformations, such as contrast stretching, intensity level slicing, bit plane slicing, and what are the different point operations we have seen. In the next, we will be looking into the histogram processing and spatial filtering. Thank you.